every time I round this corner and see that monstrosity, 60 metres hanging over our house. My stomach does a flip and I get this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach. You know, it's a constant reminder. I know the pylon itself is not dangerous, it's the wires that are dangerous. But I think the pylons symbolise the danger for everybody. It's like, I don't know, a monstrous gravestone hanging over your house. Anyway, home sweet home. My name is Paula Sheridan and this is Mike, my husband. We live in Corratown in Drumree in County Meath. We moved in here in December 1978, actually the day after we got married. That's 35 years ago. A few days before we got married, we had a guy out to connect up the pump to the well so we'd have water. And he came in and told us that there wasn't enough water to baptise a fairy. Maybe we should have taken the hint, but here we are, 35 years later, and a lot of water has gone under the bridge, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, yes. By the way, if you're wondering about the decoration here behind me, that's not normally there. That's actually a map of the route that the line has taken, and we'll talk about that a little more later on. Okay. The first notice we got that there would be a 400,000 volt line going over a garden, we were served with the notice in 1981.
This is it here. That's the sum total.
Yeah, that is the environmental impact statement, investigation, everything.
That's it.
By 1983 we were getting very concerned about this. You know, we were learning more and more about the implications of this line, and so we requested a meeting with Airbridge, or I'm sorry, it was ESB at the time. And at her request, Jim Dorr of ESB attended a meeting in our house, along with a few of our neighbours who also attended. He produced this map, or one like it, and we were amazed to see the route that the line took, the fact that it took a double dog leg for no apparent reason, or no reason that we could see.
As you can see, sorry Mike for a minute, this is the line. If it was to go in a straight line here, that's the way it went. Instead, it went like this, up here, down here. Had it gone in this direction, it would have gone over agricultural land, but because they came in the dog leg, it went over a lot of houses. Sorry Mike.
Mr. Dorr's explanation of the route it took was that the line had to enter the substation from a very specific angle, and therefore it needed to divert as it does. Now, our neighbours who were there at the time have signed statements corroborating our version of the story. Now, after that we consulted a solicitor, and we also consulted John Bruton, TD, our local TD. John Bruton wrote a letter on our behalf raising our concerns regarding the route it took, and also some health concerns and devaluation and such issues. And he received a letter back from PJ Moriarty, who was the CEO of the ESB at the time, who dealt in specifically with the other issues, but his statement as to why the line took the route it took was that
the pylon in question, Mrs. Sheridan and her neighbours by request on the 30th of June and discussed fully the route of the line. Mr. Dorr, a senior surveyor in the transmission department, met Mrs. Sheridan and her neighbours by request on the 13th of June and discussed fully the route of the line. In other words, they didn't put it in writing.
That's right. Our solicitor also wrote to ESB on our behalf, asking the same question basically, that as to why the line took the route it took. Now, oddly enough, ESB's response to this was not to reply by letter, but to send Mr. Dorr to talk to the solicitor. And Mr. Dorr, from what we can gather, bamboozled the solicitor with technobabble, and they were stopped, really.
Well, I'll just read the response from the solicitor. In response to our letter forwarded to the ESB in the above matter, a Mr. Dorr called to this office and attempted to explain to me the reasons why there was a kink or a change in the direction of the power line coming from Moneypoint, therefore in effect causing it to go by your premises and your neighbour's premises. I would point out that this appears to be a highly technical matter and impossible for me to pass comment on it, whatever. So basically we were told, forget about it.
But what Mr. Dorr had said to us when he met us here was by no means anyway technical at all. It seemed to be a very simple matter.
And this is the response that we got from the solicitor. In response to our letter forwarded to the ESB in the above matter, a Mr. Dorr called to this office and attempted to explain to me the reasons why there was a kink or a change in direction in the power line coming from Moneypoint, thereby in effect causing it to go by your premises and your neighbour's premises. I would point out that this would appear to be a highly technical matter and impossible for me to pass any comment on it whatever.
No, it did strike us as odd, and I've said it before, that a public company would respond in that way to a letter from a solicitor. It seemed to be more normal, in my view, for a letter to be the form of response that was given. It seems to me that once again they were avoiding putting anything in writing on this issue. Now, subsequently, I went and inspected the planning permission for the pylons in Meath County Council, and the permission was granted with one condition, which states that full details of any tower or mast to be located within 30 metres of the central line of any public road shall be submitted to and agreed with the council prior to erection. The pylon beside our house, which is 60 metres high, is 19 metres from the central line of the road. There is no record, either in Meath County Council or in ESB Airgrid, of any request or grant of exemption to the planning permission. Therefore, that pylon wasn't legal structure. In response to a parliamentary question recently in regard to the planning status of the pylon, ESB stated that they, quote, have to assume that the line was constructed in accordance with the planning permission granted. We beg to differ. In the absence of any evidence, the burden of proof rests with the ESB or Airgrid.
So we find ourselves now in a situation where we've two unexplained things. First, this kink on the line and why it had to come by our home instead of going in a straight line, which would have taken it over farmland. And second of all, we have an illegal pylon, 60 metres tall. And the other thing about that, Mike, is that had there been a site notice put on that tower at the time, we would have had an opportunity to go to Meath County Council and make a complaint, have our voices heard. There was no independent body at that time that we could appeal to. So our opportunity to appeal what was happening here was taken from us.
And Airgrid now proposed to hang another 400,000 volt line on that pylon, and others like it.
Yeah. So I think maybe the next thing we should come to is the health issues in the area. First of all, we're gardeners, we love our garden. That's why we bought out here in the first place. We wanted space, we wanted to be able to grow our own vegetables, we wanted an ornamental garden, and over the years we have developed that. As our children grew up, down at the bottom of the garden was always where our children played. I shudder to think about it now because it's directly underneath the wires. But they had their swings down there. Mike put up, you erected the goal posts and the net, and Adam and his friends would come there and they'd play football and whatever. Anyways, they got older. We decided we would like to extend the season over which we could grow our vegetables, and we put in a 50 square metre polytunnel in there. That was in 2004. In 2006, I contracted shingles, and to this day, 7 years later, I've never got rid of the nerve pain. It's there pretty constantly. There's times it's better, times it's worse. But nonetheless, I suffer from constant nerve pain. Then in 2010, Mike was diagnosed with prostate cancer and had treatment for it. And in March of this year, I was diagnosed with cancer of the colon and was operated in Beaumont Hospital for it. Now, we're not the only people here in this strip of 11 houses who've had health issues. And we find it extraordinary that there has been 4 cancers. One of those is terminal. 3 women have had miscarriages. 2 children have had type 1 diabetes. And we've had 1 death from motor neuron disease. As far as we're concerned, this is beyond coincidence. There must be something in the air here that there's so much illnesses.
Yeah, I mean, the Air Grid would probably say that this isn't statistically significant. But the problem with statistical significance in our situation is that it's like the Victoria Cross most of the time. It's awarded posthumously.
That's true. But, gosh, sorry for a minute now. Jesus, little did I think 2 years ago that both of us would have had cancer at this stage, you know. Life surely can throw you the odd curveball. Anyway, there you go. We have to battle on, keep going, do our best. Where there's life, there's hope. Isn't that what they say? This Mike must be making the wood dust. I hope he knows what he's looking for. God, I don't know where he's gone. He's got lost. He must have gone to milk the cow or something. You know, I'll have to go and see where he is. I need that now to put those few things away. The dust off the wood pile. And they're actually in bags up there. If you get them, yeah, great. Great. Thanks a million, Mike.
Yeah, it's amazing the way the buzzing has stopped. You know, it's hammering away all morning.
God, it surely was.
To about 2 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe they knew that we were coming out and they turned it off for us. What do you think? Fat chance.
Some chance.
Okay.
I left something behind me down here, so I'll follow you up.
Okay, that's grand. I'll go and bring these in and get them cleaned. And don't worry about topping and tailing those, Mike. I'll do that in a minute, okay? I have a knife in here. Oh, good. God, the leeks were great this year. Absolutely fantastic. I love them, I have to say. And the ma is a great lover of the leeks, you know. The ma loves the leeks. I usually bring them down to her. She's always reminiscing about how she used to grow them or how Dad used to grow them years ago. Mind you, I don't remember having leeks as a kid, but... Did you not? No. But she was saying, I don't remember having them, but maybe he grew them after I was gone. You know, God, when I think about him, you know, transplanting that, the chestnut. My sister, you know, do you remember the story I told you about? Yeah, Julie. Julie sowed that as a conker when she was about... I think she was 6 or something, and then they sowed it in the folks' garden, and when I think it was about 17 years old when they transplanted it. They brought it up here. They didn't know if it'd take, and you remember that my dad, like, he'd had the stroke, so he didn't have great strength on the left-hand side. By God, he got it out and he got it in. Yeah. You know, there it is. Great place for a treehouse. If it wasn't for the wires, huh? You really wouldn't want your grandchildren going up in that treehouse, would you? No, I don't think so. No, cross that idea off the list. When you think about all the work and the energy, you know, do you remember the weeding party we had here when we came out?
Yeah,
It was just covered in weeds, and everything that's here, every tree and plant and bush, we've
Blade
put
of
it
grass,
in. Every blade of grass. Oh my goodness. Like, you know, it's hard to fathom that this, you know,
yeah.
that our lives would take this sort of a turn, isn't it? But, you know, what can you do? Just keep fighting.
Yes. Don't let them wear you down.
Don't let them wear you down. Exactly. Then they've really won, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know.